Hi guys and welcome back. I'm Chev and this is Chef's Choice. In this video I'll be talking about my predictions for the second semi-final of the Eurovision Song Contest 2017. But first, I'm still looking for a ticket for Eurovision in concert in Amsterdam on April 1st. I'll be in town anyway and I would really love to go. So if anyone has just one spare ticket to sell or knows anyone who can't go, I would really appreciate if you could hook me up. Send me a tweet at @PascalMarchev or leave a comment or a message here on YouTube. Thank you so much in advance. But now let's start with the second semi-final. Again, I've put the acts in a random order according to their allocation in either the first or the second half. And I left Russia out of the game since at this point I don't think there will be a solution for Yulia Samolyova to compete. And you find my predictions for the first semi-final as well as all the reviews about the songs in the playlist up here. Macedonia. Jana Burczewska brings a really nice electronic dance song to the contest that might get the party started if she sings well enough live. The song kind of references the 80s but still keeps it in 2017. I have no idea what the staging will be like, but since they are working with the choreographer that is responsible for Polychenova's performance last year and Lorene's winning Euphoria performance, I'm excited to see this live. Maybe this might even rank first in this semi-final. Austria. I love the easy breezy feeling of Nathan Trent's entry. It brings a welcome change between the ballads and electronic songs this year. It's very tender and delicate in a way, which might be hard to push far enough to be noticed, especially because Nathan seems quite reserved. He might be one of the best male singers this year vocally, but that won't matter if he can't build a connection with the audience. If he can bring a certain power to his performance and boost his stage presence, I'm quite sure he can make it to the final. Otherwise it will come across as boring. Ireland. Brandon Murray has one of the most interesting and recognizable voices that I think is fantastic, but not everybody's going to like it. And while it's for sure a nice ballad, I still think it's too stiff for his young age. There's just something about the waltz rhythm that makes it feel old. What I like is that the song creates such a cozy atmosphere, and I'm looking forward to see his staging, as to see whether he brings some youth into this that way. I will be happy if he qualifies, but from what I can see so far, I think the competition is too strong. This might change though after the rehearsals. Hungary. Hungary is one of the performances that will stand out and polarize the most. I love that they have the confidence to join the contest with such a unique and traditional approach. And there are really brilliant moments within the song. But mixing different styles rarely goes well in the contest. So I don't think it was a smart decision to include the rap part, especially because the audience won't understand the lyrics and the sudden change into this almost aggressive part of the song. In my review about the Hungarian entry, I also mentioned the staging of the national final, which seems to me to be not easily approachable for Western Europeans. It had this undertone of the submissive woman dancing for the singer's attention, and even though this probably isn't the intention behind it, it can come across this way. So I would suggest to go a little less traditional in the outfits and the staging, because the song alone is strong enough in that matter. If they do this, I could imagine that there are enough people voting for it to make it to the final. Malta. When I reviewed this song in one of the first videos this year, I was very intrigued by it. But since then I changed my mind a little. While I still like the song for its Disney movie quality, I think it's too old school for 2017. You could say a ballad like this never goes out of style, but I think it does. I love, however, how classy and regal it will come across on stage, and I'm happy for Claudia Faniello that she finally made it to the contest after 10 tries. The quality of the song would be surely deserving to go through to the final, and 10 years ago she could have even won with this song, but only 10 acts can qualify and I fear that she might not make the cut. Denmark. I still don't really know what to say about this song. It has energy, it has melody, it feels like Eurovision, but somehow I still can't see this do well in the contest. Maybe it's because Anya tries too hard. We had enough screaming women in the past and Anya seems already out of breath before the first chorus. She wants to give it all she has, which is awesome, but I kind of want to shake her and tell her to calm down a little. She probably will improve on this aspect until the contest though, so I think this will be a close decision. At the moment, I don't think it will qualify. Romania. This will be an act that brings a smile to people's faces. So I applaud Romania for their choice of bringing yodeling back this year. But as I said about Hungary, the mixing of styles doesn't do as well as the producers sometimes want it to. In my opinion, this would be a better entry if Ilinka sang it alone. despite the many female solo acts that we have already. I'm sure it would be possible to compose a yodeling song that seems current, but with the urban element that they try to bring into it with Alex Florea, brings it down for me and makes the yodeling seem like a gimmick. It feels too constructed, and I think that's what makes it lack the authenticity for me. I would love for them to include the folklore aspect more into the whole concept, to give the yodeling a reason to be there. Also, the tacky styling in the national final makes it seem a little trashy. While that doesn't need to be a bad thing, sometimes trashy can be fun, and since it's the only song of its kind, it will get quite a few votes, I'm sure. I just don't know how much. If I could, I would put this in a maybe pile, but for now let's say it makes it to the final and then we look at it again after the rehearsals. Netherlands. I really hope the three Eugene sisters do well in the contest. Their voices are just so perfect together and bring something to the show that we haven't heard for a long time. In fact, I can't remember when there was an act that focused so much on harmonies. Of course, their style of sound automatically brings up comparisons between Wilson Phillips or maybe even the Dixie Chicks, but their voices create such a warm and fluffy atmosphere that makes you feel like you're sitting in front of a fireplace under a cozy blanket, sipping warm chocolate. And that's something we need when there's so much chaos around in the world. I hope they find a way to lull you in with their performance, and I think they will qualify. At least I think they should. Serbia. This is one of the songs that I just can't seem to get into my head because I don't feel it's unique enough. It's not that I don't like it at all, but if the Netherlands take us to a cozy fireplace, then Serbia shoots us into the cold outer space or deep onto the Arctic ice. It's cold and doesn't really pull me in. I'm not saying that it has to, but it's harder for a song like this to create emotions, at least for me. Also, it reminds me a little of Malta's Walk on Water from last year, which I didn't particularly like as well. I think Serbia won't make it through, but at this point it's hard to say. She will need to impress with a great show. Lithuania. It's not a good year for Lithuania. I don't have many songs where I'm sure they don't qualify, but this is one of them. It feels a little all over the place, and while I appreciate the singer's unique style, I don't think it will captivate the audience. I also think it seems to be a little cheap, which I know is unfair since there just are countries that don't have the same budget as others. And I know this will look a lot better in Kiev, so I'm looking forward to seeing it on the real stage. But compared to the other songs, this feels unapproachable and won't make it to the final. Israel. I'm sure Imri will give us a great show. Not only is he one of the most handsome guys this year, which shouldn't be underestimated, but also this song can get the audience from their seats if he brings the energy from the song across in the performance. The song itself is by far nothing special, and it's not something that I will passionately root for. So personally, I don't really mind on which side he will rank, but for now, I just say it's good enough for the final. Belarus. Probably the most likable duo of all the contestants. They are adorable when they perform together. Everything they do feels authentic and you see that they love their song. And from what I've heard about the plans for the staging, it all sounds quite promising to be a coherent performance. Vocally, I think the studio version is stronger, so I think they should work a little on that, but otherwise I don't see a reason why they shouldn't make it to the final and maybe even to the top 10 of the whole contest. Norway. I really started to like Norway's song. It's unique among the other contestants and feels very modern. The performance, however, needs more dynamic. At the national final I thought it was quite static, but I thought anyway that the stage in the Norwegian final was a challenge for any performer because it was so big. To fill such a stage you need a whole army of dancers or something. But if they can turn up the energy level in the performance and create a special moment, then they're through to the final for me. Switzerland. I'm happy that the Swiss song is so high on many people's lists, because we Swiss had a couple of rough years. So I agree that Apollo is the best song since Subalter, but I still think it's very safe. A pretty woman singing an average ballad. I know it's a band, but let's be honest, who cares about the rest of the group? I'm probably being a little too critical with my own country because she sings it really well and she has a presence on stage that pulls all the focus towards her. So I wish her the best of luck, and from what it looks like at this point, Time Bell will be heading into the final, but it might not be easy. San Marino. I really don't know what San Marino is doing. They keep sending the same woman over and over, even though she only made it to the final once out of the 3 times that she's been there. To be fair, I don't think it's Valentina Monetta's fault, but rather the composer Ralph Siegel, who still hasn't arrived in the 21st century. Somehow San Marino can't get any other composer on board, or they don't want to. But doesn't the saying go, never change a winning horse rather than stick to your losing donkey? But I don't want to be rude. The production of the song, of course, is good. I just think that even with a retro song, there needs to be a connection to today. And I feel like that's missing here. So San Marino is out. Bulgaria. I was too harsh in my review video about Bulgaria. I started to like this song more and more, and I can actually see this doing really well. I think it's battling with Australia for the most successful ballad this year. Both artists bring something unique to the table, and I think the staging will decide between them. But I can't say much more at this point because there is very little visual footage for the Bulgarian song to make an educated guess about the staging. Yet I'm sure we will see Christian Kostov in the final. Estonia. Another close call. The song itself for me is quite nice. It's a really catchy melody and the two singers can definitely sing very well. And I like that the lyrics are actually quite original for a love song. My biggest issue with the Estonian entry is though that their performance in the national final was so stiff. Laura couldn't walk in her dress and I'm missing charisma in both of them. They look a little like they are performing in a church, which I don't mean in a negative way per se. Everything is just very clean and organized and has this perfect world calmness about it that can also make it look too slick because there is no edge to hold on to. So just like I personally don't really know what to do with this song, I think the audience as well won't be convinced enough to pick up the phone. If they do, I'm happy for Estonia. And Croatia. This song is going to be a challenge for the audience to follow along because they're watching about 4 songs at once. I'm afraid it's going to be too confusing, even though I personally quite like this. The worst thing is that this pseudo-inspirational spoken part right at the beginning of the song will put people off immediately. So he already needs to reel them back in when the song has just started, which is a bad plan. He's vocally fantastic though, and there are great parts in the song. So I'm totally unsure about whether this makes it through to the final or not, just like Romania's Yodel song. So for me it's either this or that. One of them will make it, the other one is out. So because I already let Romania through, I have to send Croatia home, even though I personally like it more than Romania. So that's my prediction for the second semi-final. I hope I didn't offend anyone, and that I can only say again that this is just my opinion at this point in time. It will change once the rehearsals have started and I can see more what it's going to look like. So tell me in the comments what you think. I'm interested to hear your opinion, so it would be great for me to know why you like or dislike something. Just please be respectful to everybody involved. I hope you liked watching this video. If you did and want to see what I'm going to do the next weeks, just subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications. That way you can't miss anything. Thank you for watching and goodbye.